All right, so we're going to talk about housewarming parties. Show of hands, who here knows what a housewarming party is? I mean, like a real housewarming party. A couple of y'all, I want to explain it. The first thing I got to do is I'm going to have to share my screen because we're going to preface this with the great Michael Maher. This is Michael Maher. Michael is probably the best refer-based agent I've ever heard of. I've followed him. I admire and respect him greatly. I'm going to shamelessly, aggressively plug his book in just a second. But let's go through what this is and what you guys are going to on the screen. Message from Michael. How I got 11 referrals from my very first client, and he should have gotten more. Here's the story. When I started my real estate career, I knew I wanted to be different. I tried the traditional method of cold calling expires for sale banners, door knocking, emailing people, but none of that felt right to me. My very first client, Mr. and Mrs. Davies, allowed me to throw a housewarming party for them about 45 days after closing. Remember that date. That's important. We're going to come back to that. About 45 days after closing. Lost my train of thought. There we go. As you'd expect, it was a lot of fun. The atmosphere was very happy. The top of it, he got 11 referrals from this party. I had simply planned it, invited their friends, families, and neighbors, ordered pizza, and showed up. This is a magazine, and this is going to be, I'll download this so everybody will have an opportunity to really go through it. There's a substantial more in the magazine. In fact, I would strongly encourage reading. Let's see. Warming parties are simple and smart. You're going to get this set up for you guys shortly. I will give it to you. What we're talking about today is how are we going to set up a housewarming party? What's it look like when we're doing a housewarming party, and what happens afterward? And my goal is that you can implement this immediately. We have checklists for you. We have procedures for you. I want you to be able to take this and right now today with a client that you're just putting under contract today, have the right systems and tools. Now, for everybody out there that's not done this before, here is the secret. You're going to be nervous the first time. I felt like Biden there whispering. You're going to be nervous the first time you do this because you're not really sure what's going to happen. But I want you to think about this. Show of hands, the people I can see. Who here has had a couple of guests over at their house and has taken care of the food and provided them with a great time? Who's actually had guests at their house, friends at their house? Show of hands. All right, outstanding. Appreciate that very much. Here's the thing. It's exactly the same, but you're doing it at somebody else's house. Now, what if I could tell you that with very, very little planning, let's say we go with what Michael was just talking about with pizza, you can go with anything you want. And with very little money, and let's say because I'm a successful real estate agent, and that is a definition that I want you guys to get. Successful means that my mind is right. I know I can do this, and I'm going to do it at a great level. If you have a lending partner, if you're putting a buyer under contract and you have a lending partner who is doing the mortgage on there, why wouldn't you ask the lending partner to participate in this? Because all new leads are going back to that lending partner anyway. So this can be fun, and this can also be almost zero cost to you. Does it take a little time and effort? Absolutely, it does. Is it worth it? 100%. He said he got 11. I went 3, conservative. And here's why. I'm going to give you a taste of what the parties look like, and we're going to dive into this. But imagine you're in a service mode. The party's going on. Everybody's done what they need to do at the front door. You've got everything you need. You're fully prepared and ready to go. And now what you're doing is you and your lender and perhaps a significant other, doesn't matter, maybe a business partner, you're there, you're serving. Name tags on. 25 to 40 people are there. It's pretty inexpensive. Buy a bunch of pizzas, call it a day. Bring some wine, bring some sodas. And you're walking around and you're cleaning up and you're doing everything. And you know who they're talking about the entire time? The host is talking about this house came from that person right there. That's my real estate professional. That's my friend. And you get to talk to people all day. Not about real estate. It's about this, about the party, about, oh my God, how much fun it was and everything else. We're going to go into some high level stuff in just a second. That conversation is called third-party testimonial. Your agent, or excuse me, your client is validating you to everybody there again and again and again, because you are the topic of conversation. You're cleaning, you're serving. It's a blast. If you've been in the restaurant business, you've served in the restaurant business, I want you to consider this is very, very similar. Your job is to provide an amazing environment and clean up. We put on the checklist, which you're going to get, even bring big garbage bags because you got to take stuff out, get rid of it when you're done, 30 minutes before the party's over. You're literally out the door. You leave everything for them. They get the sodas and the drinks and the extra pizza. You just pick up all the paper. Let's go into what this looks like. First off, show of hands. if I could show you a way to set up a party that doesn't cost you anything and only takes you really about 2 hours beforehand, and you get to go face to face with 40 different people, plus or minus, and actually create relationships while somebody else is bragging about you, who's in? Who wants to do that? Do you think you get any business from that? I think you get a lot of it. This guy, Michael, is amazing. So let me switch up real quick. I'm going to have to sit down for this because we're going to dive deep. All right, reposition. Let's do it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to jump into the checklist. I got to find it, so bear with me. I know where it is. I'll pull this up on the other screen. All right, so I'm going to share this. Now, this checklist and the procedures, I'm going to go through them fairly quickly. There's some things I'm going to stop in because I wanted to take some, I took some notes on what we're going to cover. I'm going to go through this. These checklists will be available for download right here. Okay, right here. You'll be able to do this. You'll take these right now and take them away. Tiffany is not here. When Tiffany gets back, somebody remind me to let Tiffany know that I'd love to have these placed into the daily downloads, which is on the GPS Global Partners first page at the bottom. It's called Daily Downloads. So if you're driving,
I'm walking, but I got it, you.
Oh, thank you very much, Tiffany. So I'll drop these in a little bit, but I want to go through them first. Let's jump in. This is the housewarming checklist. Now, it's a PDF. You can copy and paste, do whatever you want with it, make it your own. A couple things on this very first one. Initial housewarming conversation, the day of contract. You hear this. This is so important. Oh my gosh. Here are the stats. 50% of the people you ask will do it. The other 50% won't. And that's totally cool. The idea is it's important to have that conversation and how much you want to celebrate them. But if they say, no, I just doesn't feel right, or I'm not really sure about it, that's totally cool. If you're going to close, let's say 10 transactions over the course of this year, you're going to work your fanny off, and half of those are buyers and 50%. Let's say you do 2 or 3 parties and you get 3 or 4, or you get 3 referrals from each one of them. Okay, you had to ask 10. Well, actually, only 5 were buyers. The other 5 were listings. We're just using these round numbers. You have 2 or 3 parties where you get 3 referrals out of each one of them. That 10 closings, because you did 2 parties, turns into about 16 closings. This is how you plus it up. And I'm going to show you some ways to take it even further and make it even more powerful. And it's going to take you doing the thing I talk about all the time. You're going to have to take action. You're going to have to do something that perhaps you're not uber comfortable with, but you're going to make it happen, and you got to make the commitment. So let's go back to it. The initial conversation is the day you go to contract with somebody. Let them know. So listen, one of the things we're going to go through a lot of stuff right now. I get that. We've got things we've got to do. Can you all see that? Can you all see the housewarming checklist? Thumbs up. Awesome. Thank you very much. We've got a lot to do in the next couple of weeks as we get closer and closer, but I want you to start thinking about the fact that if you'll permit me, it would be my honor, I don't know, a month or so after we close, to be able to throw a housewarming party for you and your closest friends. I'll take care of everything. I'll do the cleanup. All you got to do is just let me know that you want to do it. And we're wanting them to do that because it gives you a chance to meet their friends very, very quickly. And they just bought a house. Their friends are probably in the same arena. They're going to know the best real estate agent in town. That's you, because you're the one that took the time to do something special for them. Don't let this get missed. You want an email template, which you can create. It says name, address, or name, phone number, email address, whatever the case may be, an address if they have it. If it's their Christmas mailing list, was what we call it, then you want to have that so they've got all their information, and they have to give it to you because you're going to do a couple things. Number one, y'all look at me on the screen, you're going to send out a handwritten invitation to this event that you're putting on a couple weeks ahead of time. That's the mail handwritten invitation. You're also going to call them a couple days beforehand, and that is the follow-up down here. Follow up and call the email guest list who have not RSVP'd. Follow up with the clients on the number of the RSVPs a week before. So this is all getting it set up, sending out invitations. Now, the question that comes up on a regular basis when I have a conversation on this is, okay, well, so I'm setting up invitation. I'm getting those. I'm setting an invitation. What do I call it? We're celebrating the moving into their new family home or whatever it may be. You can create an Eventbrite and email that out. You can also send it out with a personal RSVP, and you want to call and reach out. Hi, this is George. I am calling on behalf of Mr. and Mrs. Dixon. We are hosting a party for them to celebrate their new house, and I know they want you to come. They were nice enough to share your information. I'll be hosting the party and kind of taking care of it. Can we get you to join us at the party? You'd never have to say you're a real estate agent. You don't have to say any of it. I'm throwing a housewarming party. We're throwing a housewarming party for Mr. and Mrs. Dixon. Okay. For all of you that are able to do it, put your camera on. If you don't have your camera on, I don't think you're focused on this. I need you on point for this. This is your career we're talking about. Give me the effort. I don't care what it is. Even if you're Don Wild and you're in Colorado and it's rainy out there and it's cold and it's dark, but that's cool. He's on. Help me out. Give me your faces. Give me your energy. It's important to you. It's important to me. All right, let's go back to this. And again, these checklists are going to be made available to you in just a couple minutes. All right, somewhere in here, you increase or decrease the number of the food you ordered. Up here on the top one, it says to order the food if you want it. I put that down because I thought that was important. Door prize form, it looks just like this. You can make your own. I'm not going to download this one. I haven't recreated. I do not want to steal Mr. Maher's one. I borrowed it from him, but I want you guys to see it. You can definitely make your own. It's name, address, phone number, email. Would you like to know the value of your home? Yes, I'd like more information on current interest rates. Who's the next person to be buying, selling? So this is a fair one because we're hosting it. We are actually coming from contribution. What I mean by that is we are able to say, we'd like some information as they're filling this out at the party. And this is also going to be entered into the drawings. So let's talk about the drawings in the party for just a second. And at this point, we're kind of already there. We've got everything done. We've got the questionnaire. They're at the party. They're filling it out. There's a table, maybe a fold-up table. You borrow one from the seller and you have them fill it out. Now, what I like to do is get a picture of their house about this big, blow it up to like an 8 by 10 or whatever the size is, have it put in a frame that's bordered by a white frame. Put a pen there and on that frame, have them etch it in there. The date up on top, whichever their closing date was on the home. This is something that'll go on their wall that is going to be something they can keep. It is a gift from us, which is very reasonable. It costs maybe, I don't know, $40, $60. Take the glass out, put a pen and say, everybody, would you mind signing this? We're going to present this to them after we're done as a gift. This is the last thing you'll do, by the way. Now, on there is always probably a basket with some wine or something, and that's for a drawing. Enter in for this for sure, and it's for the drawing and for the gift. We've asked for your help. They'll do it. There's enough reciprocity. They have no problem helping out doing that. All right, so we're at the house. I've got my table set up. I've got my felt pen. I've got the sign in. My business cards are there. My lenders, partners, business cards are there. I had the pizza delivered, or it was already, or whatever it was brought to the party, ready to go. Let's say for our conversation, the party starts at 5, it's over at 7:30. I'm going to be there, and this is part of the procedures. I'm going to be there at 4:30, make sure everything's set up, make sure my table's set up, make sure that really cool picture, which is my gift to them, is set up. And at 7 o'clock, I'm leaving. I'm leaving a half an hour before the party ends. I'm leaving everything up and just very simple stuff. And I'm taking the garbage with me. And the entire time I'm greeting people, introducing myself. Are you their agent? Yes, but today I'm their servant and I'm their server. I'm here to host this party because we want to celebrate them moving into their house. So you're really going to defer away from anything real estate related, but you are wearing your name tag and your sign and your stuff is up front. And here's the thing. The entire conversations will be about you and, oh my God, yeah, that's my agent. They're awesome there. And you just go up and say, hey, can I freshen the wine for you? Would you like some more soda? It doesn't matter what you do. Here's a sidebar. We do this same kind of conversation at open houses. We don't barrage them, but you want to go and touch everybody from, let me take that from you. Can I bring you anything? Would you like another slice of pizza or whatever the case may be? How can I best help you enjoy this? I'll clean up. You just have fun. You're starting to get that. So 3 conversations with people where you're actually saying something to them like, Delania, hi. Hey, Delania, can I don't know your name at the party. May I freshen the drink for you? That's 1. I grab a plate here. Let me get that out of your hand. It's my pleasure to do it. Is there anything I can get you? No, that's 3 times that her and I have interacted. And those 3 times are enough to start to foster relationships. We use this same strategy in open houses. We use this with anything. It's repetitive interactions. Now, remember, there's a good chance you've already called them, not as an agent, but as somebody inviting somebody to the party. You've already invited them to the party via an email that came from you and probably a handwritten note or handwritten invitation that came from you that has a business card in there. That's totally cool. And it's just about getting them there. Now you're there to serve. Your entire part of this involvement from now on, from once the party starts until it ends, is to continue to find things to do to serve the people having fun. You are their indentured servant. Anything that they want, you will take care of. And here's why. We want them to know clearly that we come from service. I would encourage taking a lot of pictures. Okay, I'm going to go back to sharing real quick, and then we'll get this set up for y'all. You want to take pictures. As I said, name tags, pens, business cards, garbage bags, and paper towels the day of the party. You're using your stuff to clean up. Everybody's got an extra roll. Thank you flyers to the entire list 5 days after the party, including client and write personal thank you notes. Friend request all of them. Follow up the calls after the attending 3 days later to see if any have any real estate questions. You're okay to do it. Do they want to set up a consultation? Now, remember on your invite, or excuse me, on your questionnaire that's going to be entered in for the drawing, it asks them there if they have any real estate questions. Please, for the love of God, if somebody says yes on there, by all means, follow up with them immediately. Don't wait 3 or 4 days. But if they don't, this gives you an opportunity. Add them to your Christmas card. This is on here as well. And I'll just finish the last two. Add them to your Christmas card list for you personally. And I would add them to my mailing list. Now, for all of you that know me pretty well, I'm going to say this one more time. If you can, put your faces on. It's important. This is about you. It's your business, and we want to focus on you. If you have a mailer list, if you are working with your database, I strongly encourage that everybody have a hashtag on their database, inside their entire database, that says just sold postcard or monthly postcard. Either of those are fine. This is my monthly postcard. It goes out to everybody in my database that is either part of my circles of influence, very close, I'm going to get referrals from. That's the back of it. And they're hashtagged, besides COI, because this is my centers of influence, they're also hashtag monthly postcard. Here's why. These people perhaps don't make it into my centers of influence at the highest level where I'm talking to them at least once a month and communicating with them 50 times. But I want them to continue to get a postcard. Then the postcard has one purpose and one purpose only. This postcard says George and Jackie sold another home. It doesn't have a price. It doesn't have an address. Once a month, my monthly postcard people get a postcard from me that shows them, look, I'm still selling homes. Why wouldn't these people be added to that? If you have 20 homes that you're sending this to, assuming that it's 20 people and they bring a spouse or a significant other, we're not looking at very much. It's around 64 cents per postcard. Somebody do the math for me and shoot it out there. 64 times 20 times 12. Oh, I'll do it. I got a calculator. You're looking at $153 to communicate to these new people 12 times on purpose, and they already know who you are, and you have their email, so they're obviously getting stuff like that. This is a very valuable tool, and that's why it's so important to add them to your Christmas card list and your mailing list. They won't forget you. Chances are you'll forget them before they forget you. Let's not let that happen. Sidebar. Follow-up is absolutely mission critical. Follow-up's the most important thing that we can do as real estate professionals, as great salespeople, as great connectors of people. We must follow up at the absolute highest level. This is where most people fail, and this is where the extra money is. So while you're hearing about this party, and I hope to God this is sinking in, I hope you're saying, I want to apply this. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you're really, really jazzed about that. But I want you to remember that it won't work the way you want it to do unless, of course, you take follow-up seriously. If you take managing your database seriously, have you figured that out? We're adding to our database. These are people that already have been told that you're awesome. They've celebrated it. They've had an amazing time. All right, so let's elevate our game a little bit. We're going to go to the procedures in just a minute. I'm going to talk about elevating our game. This one I got to stand up for because I can't sit down. It's just I got too much energy running around for this. All right. So imagine I'm going to throw a house party in 2 weeks. They've been there for 2 weeks. They live in the community for 2 weeks. Now, this isn't a time frame that you have to be worried about. You can actually do this the day after they move in. But imagine if I put together a gift bag. Now, for those of you that are a little bit creative, that are good at doing this, maybe you bake some cookies, you wrap them up. Yes, I know they won't eat your cookies. It doesn't matter. It's the idea of it. I made some fresh cookies. They're award-winning, whatever. I don't care if they're Tall House. It doesn't matter. I have some coupons, gift certificates, values from in this that are, let's say, $250, because you know how easy it is for me to walk into a restaurant and say, listen, I sold a house in the neighborhood. I want to showcase some of the best restaurants. I'd love to drop off one of your menus. If you want to do something to entice these people to join you in the restaurant, I'm going to be in front of about 40 people. And I want to talk and showcase what your restaurant is. Oh my God, yeah, here's our menu, and yeah, give them a $5 off. Okay. Let's say this turns into a $100 value. We're just going to pretend it does. Here's how this goes. You ready? We're going to go with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. That's who just moved into the house, and they moved into the Johnson's house. So I'm going to knock on the door. This is important. Watch this. If your guy particularly takes 6 steps back and have your back turned, okay? If you really want to blow them away, put these in a little red wagon, pull it behind you. Yes, it looks kind of whimsical, but I promise you, nobody's afraid of somebody pulling a little red wagon. When they turn around, when you answer the door, turn around, smile, greet them. Hello, my name is George Philbeck. I was helping Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, because I'm a buyer side agent, in the sale of their home. And that home has been taken over now by Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They're wonderful people. They just moved into the neighborhood. And I wanted just to introduce you to them. Oh, by the way, I brought you this. It's got about $100 value. And I made some cookies there in there as well. Again, I helped them in the purchase of that property, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith or Jones and selling theirs. But I really wanted you to know that you have some great neighbors. Tell them about that. There's a lot of great information here that will help you, and there's some value. And more than anything, just wanted to say we love your neighborhood, and thank you for letting us move in here. This is going to be great. That's it. It's pretty warm and straightforward. You're just introducing them to their neighbor. If you know something about them, I'm sure you do. You've worked with them. Maybe bring it up as long as they're comfortable with it. Check with your client first. Hey, listen, if I were to introduce you to the neighbors, don't do that. They may not like it. It's one of the things I do. I want the neighbors to know the greatness that just moved in here. If they're not private, you can do this. No, but think of the impact. Now you're talking to 40 or 50 other homes in the area, and you have a great reason in which to do so. If you really want to plus this at the beginning of the party you're putting on, the day before, the day of, have a company deliver signs that say housewarming party. Everybody's going to know it's you. If you're really Teflon high level, what if you talk to your client, say, hey, listen, with your permission, I would love to put my sign in the front yard just because it really helps me within the community. And that way they know who to speak to if they want to get to know you guys. If they say yes, as soon as the other sign's removed, have yours dropped in for 2 weeks. The seller, the buyer, who's now the owner, gave you complete permission to do so. As long as you put a sold sign up front, you're compliant. And now your face is the one that shows up as the sold. Is that one borderline? Yeah, probably a little bit. Use your best judgment on that, but it's absolutely legitimate. And you can do that because the buyer, who is now the owner, says, yes, I give you permission to do so. But think about introducing to the neighborhood. Think about something as simple as just a little bag. All you got to do is the same thing we do when we're doing open houses. We're doing a mega open house. I want to get gift certificates and items of value so that when I'm walking around the neighborhood, I can present them, or if they're coming in, I can present them with something of value. Let's jump into the procedures real quick. Does anybody have any questions in the interim up to this point? If you do, just hold up your hand. Fuentes, you see a question? If you do, speak up, my friend.
This a thumbs up.
Oh, thumbs up I can live with. All right. So here is the checklist. It is going in the drop right now. It'll take a couple seconds to download it. I'm also dropping in procedures. And they should be there. Give them a couple seconds. We're going to have to click on them. Obviously, it won't happen. It takes a few seconds while they upload, but they will be available for you. Let's jump into the procedures. And I want you guys to start thinking about, and this is what we're going to talk about in a couple minutes after we're done with the procedures. What can we do to make it better? So we've set this basis up. It's pretty easy. Follow the checklist. Do what you need to do. Here are the procedures for in your house. How can we plus it? Remember I said, let's get a big picture frame with a white border and have everybody sign on there with a nice wood frame around it, and then put the glass in. By the way, I should cover that. So when it's all said and done, what I want you to do when it's, let's say it's 7 o'clock, you're about ready to leave, everything's picked up, got everything done, grab this and say, may I have everybody's attention? It is an honor to present to Bob and Susan this signed by all of your friends, welcome to the home photo that we had curated for you. And we just wanted you to know this was the most fun we've had helping somebody buy and sell a home. And it is an honor to call you a friend. We really, really love you guys. Congratulations on your new home. Everybody claps. It's a celebration. You do one of these. Go, thank you very much. I'll be here all week. Turn around, walk your ass out the door because they're going to talk about you. Just about you. She's going to say, that's the best agent I've ever seen. I love them. They're great friends. Really? I'm interested in buying a home pretty soon. You should use them. Their cards are still up front. They forgot to take their business card. Guys, folks, this should be standard practice. And remember, you're not going to have to do it all the time because not all the time not everybody's going to say yes. But even if you could do this, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 times a year, who's cool with picking up extra? This is an opportunity to have a whole lot of fun and pick up some people. Let's jump into procedures. All right, sharing this. Oh, I'm sorry. Any questions in the interim? And once I'm done with procedures, we're going to plus this up. Everybody's going to offer suggestions. Here's the thing. If you want stuff out of this mastermind, if you want things out of mastermind, I will tell you that the best way for you to get engaged is to have your camera on. That's important. That has to happen. But also to start asking questions, be involved, make suggestions. You have no idea how amazing you are. And the stuff that's in your brain, we need to know it because it's probably something that all of us want to know about. So don't hold back when it comes time to how can we make it better? Because my expectations are by the time we get to 9:30, I've got a full page, it's blank right now, of notes because I want my housewarming party to not be here. I'm never satisfied with here. I want it so you can't even see it. It's so off the chart. This is what they talk about for months. Y'all prepared? Think about that. How can we make it better? Let's jump into procedures. Both of these are downloaded for you. Okay. All parties will be 30 to 50 days from closings, Friday or Saturday night, usually the best time at which to do so. They usually carry on after that, which is fine. I provide drinks, sodas, beer, wine, stuff like that. If they ask for something a little harder, usually the owner has that. I let them know, here's my list of what I'll be bringing. Anything left over, I'd like to leave for you. And obviously, we're going to be leaving at 7 to allow you some time with your friends after we do a good cleanup. You can have the party stay on as long as they want. The longer they stay, the more they talk about you. If you set them up from 5 to 7 and they stroll in at 6:15, 6:30, you're greeting everybody at the door. They've got pizza, beer, whatever the case may be. You're serving your contribution at 7 o'clock. Here you go. It's a present for us. See you later. I'm out of here. And you walk out the door. They're going to talk about you even if the party goes on until 10 o'clock at night. Call the homeowner 10 days after closing. Confirm the date. Get clear directions to the house, which is obvious, and make sure you have their guest list. Homeowner must provide the name, address, phone number, and email of all the guests. You may have to call them back. Hey, do you happen to have an address for these people? I want to make sure we send them. No, I don't, but I know they live in Tallahassee or wherever their city is or street is. So great. I could probably pull them up on the tax records. I'll see what I can do. If not, I may need your help on that one so I can make sure they get invited. I love this. 20 to 30 people, 40 to 60 total, half of them show up. Notify the lender that the party date. Create your RSVP list. You'll need to touch base with those who have not RSVP'd about 3 days prior to the party to establish an RSVP and to answer any potential questions. That means you're going to do some follow-up before you meet these people. Hey, I noticed you couldn't come. Mr. or John and Susan are having this party a couple days from now. Really important. They wanted to make sure you were included. Is there any way we can help you make it there or any questions I can answer? That's the conversation and that's your script. Food needs to be ordered, but this is just so you have it. I wanted to make sure that you had it. Order enough for 20 people and increase it. If you're going to order pizza, it's a little bit different. You'll probably need to bring paper plates. You can buy those at Costco for really, really cheap and then use them again and again over the course of the year. I'm not exaggerating. I have a stack this high of different kind of paper plates because I'm too darn lazy to go into my garage and I just buy another 50 at the store. You can do that and then mix and match as you want to. It's up to you on what level you go. But remember, simple and easy works. You don't have to go over the top. I'm going to say this a little bit clearer. You don't have to go with escargot and filet mignon with an imperial topping. It's not required. It's the community that's most important. If you've got a signature appetizer, put it out. It gives you a talking point. Bring it yourself. I love making deviled eggs. I'll bring at least 2 dozen, 3 dozen deviled eggs, and I'll put those out just because it's fun. And it used to be cheap. Used to be able to buy eggs at a reasonable cost. But I'll do whatever I need to do to bring a little personal touch to mine, and we're going to cover that in a bit. This is fun. If you're doing it right, you're having a great time. Yes, you will be uncomfortable with the first one right up until it starts, and you'll be like, this is the most fun I can have. Guests will enter 2 drawings for gift certificates. Need to be sure you have registration slips. That's what we talked about. The entry box, pens, and plenty of business cards. By the way, this is how you know who's attended. Bring name tags to the party. You will wear your name tag all day long. Never take it off. They need to know that you're that person, that you're the one. Party signs, this is the taking it to the next level. Housewarming party signs and balloons set out at the point of entry to the house. Why not make a production so the neighbors know about it? There's a good chance you just walked around and talked to the neighbors earlier, and now they're going by seeing there's a housewarming party on here. Wow, isn't that an impressive thing? Yes. Camera, lots of photos. Clients, buyer, specialist, and lender will need to attend the party and wear their name tag, stay 30 minutes, be there 30 minutes beforehand, and leave 30 minutes before the end. After the party, within a week, send out thank you flyer to all the guests and follow up with phone calls. This is all you need to take serving a client from one level to the next. And here's the part I want you guys to get. I want you to think about this, because this is the scourge of every one of you almost exclusively. Goes like this. It's 2 weeks before closing for our conversation. I'm going to use Heather because you're right up on top. So Heather, hey, listen, we're closing in 2 weeks. This is going to be really great. I'm really excited. I call her. It's literally 2 weeks to the day before closing. We're closing 2 weeks this Tuesday. I can't wait. This is going to be great. Hey, I've scheduled our final walkthrough on Monday at 5 p.m. So we're going to do our final walkthrough on that one. And we've got loan approval, which is coming on Thursday, which is just coming up. So her and I are going to talk, and then we get a week out. We're going to talk even more. We're having these conversations all the time. Oh my God, we're ready to go. We'll go to the final walkthrough. We go to the final walkthrough. We're in the final walkthrough. We're having a great time. I'm going to put my couch here, my stair there. They didn't take this shit out of the garage. I'll get it taken care of because I'm a fix-it person. That's what I do. Everything's great. I think we're good to go. Closing tomorrow is 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning. I can't wait to be there. We get to closing. It's great. I give you a closing gift and it's really great. I give you a big hug. Crickets. It's the last time she hears from me for 6 or 8 months. Now ask yourself this question. Who here, being transparent, has done just that? Because you create these deep relationships. You're always talking. You're having conversations nonstop. And then when it gets time to close, you go to close and that's it. And you say, oh, I should call him tomorrow because I talk every day, but we haven't talked every day. The world got in the way. I can't really talk tomorrow, so that's not going to work. Well, but I'll try. And then all of a sudden, what are we? We're 6 months out. Anybody get that? Anybody do that? Show of hands. Truthfully, who's done that? Who's been involved in that engagement? Okay. Thank you for being transparent. I appreciate that because it's just safe in here. Remember, here's a way to stop that. Here's a high level tip for you. 2 weeks before closing, put it on there. Send the letter. And here's a letter. You write your own, however you want it. Again, I'm going to go back to it. Heather, sorry for such a late email. I send it at like 8 or 9 at night, which is late in my world. I was just thinking about how much fun it's been helping you, blah, 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 blah. Anything else that I want to say, I can continue to say. I go on to this, and here's the part that's important. I know for sure that the world's going to get in the way, and you're going to be very busy once you buy this house and close. And I'm going to be busy helping another family do the same thing, but I don't want to lose sight of the fact that I think we're growing, that I really enjoy the fact that we're growing a friendship here. And I'm going to do everything in my power to keep in touch as much as I possibly can. It just makes me sad that we won't be talking as much as we always have been in the last couple of weeks, because I really enjoyed that. And I want to do everything to make sure that we stay in touch. I hope that means something to you. Have an amazing night. Sorry to bother you so late in the evening. Send. That's standard, by the way. It's a template. Write it once, write it well, and insert their name properly. Now, here's what happens. When you don't call them the next day, you're off the hook. They will reply to that email. Oh my God, I feel the same way. Let's keep in touch. Okay, now you're actually working on a friendship. If you're going to do a housewarming party, terrific. But if you're not doing a housewarming, they said, no, I'm not really interested in that. Still send out that email. Even if they don't reply, it gets you off the hook for what is inevitably going to happen, which is you are going to feel a little bit transactional. And here's why. If Heather and I are going through this conversation all the time, and then all of a sudden that day after it's cricket, she doesn't hear from me. She doesn't hear from me for 2, 3, 4 days. I never check in, which is my fault. I should. But if I don't, I'm no longer transactional. If I've sent that email out and she's acknowledged and replied to it, we get it, we're busy, we're doing things, and I can follow up in a week or so. However, if I don't send it, the emotions will not change for every person. She will feel as if she was transactional. Oh, now that they bought a house, I'm done. We have clients tell us all the time. We were so surprised y'all followed up. We figured you were just done. Our clients constantly, they're like, I can't believe you're still talking to us. Why not? The friendship's what's important. Call it out front. All right. We know what to do. We're all working with buyers. We have an opportunity to, the day we put them under contract, say, listen, something I do for the people I really like, and I want to do this for you if you're comfortable with it. I want to throw a housewarming party for you and 20 or 30 or 40 of your best friends. I'll take care of the beer and the wine and the food and everything. I'll do all the cleanup and everything. I want to do this to showcase your house a month after you're closed. I mean, obviously, let you get the house straightened up. But if I could do that for you, would you let me do that as a gift from me? Yeah, that'd be fun. Cool. We're going to have that conversation nonstop 10 days beforehand. Listen, don't forget, 40 days from now, 30 days after we close, I'm going to do a housewarming party for you. I'm really excited. What do you think of this date? That you're having those conversations. They go to close. That's terrific. Now you have a reason to follow up with them. You're about to get 3 or 4 leads from them without having to do a thing except host a party. You know what to do in the party now. We know how to set it up. We know how to have the conversations. I role played a lot of it for you. Start thinking about and start sharing with all of us. How could we make it better based on what we just talked about? What can we, as a community of agents helping agents, how can we make that more engaging or a better, stronger party? Raise your hand, share something with me. You all have to have ideas. I saw it. Rosie, you want to raise? You got something to say? Okay.
No, 1 second. I think
Yeah.
it's a wonderful idea, and I think that when you do this, one thing that you need to sort of keep in mind is that sometimes the owners are overwhelmed. So the timing of when you do this event needs to be well thought out. That's what I think, because I remember when I bought my house here in Florida, it was a lot, so you need to think about that.
100%. I love it. One of the things that is overwhelming for a buyer is, oh my God, I've got so much to do. We have Utilities Connect. A lot of us do. We have Utilities Connect service, which you can actually provide to your seller or your buyer. It'll tell them all their utilities at one place and get everything turned on very easily. That is a great suggestion, Rossi. I love it because you're absolutely right. We have to be aware of their time frame. Is 30 days too quick? Is 45 better? Do they want even 6 weeks or 8 weeks, 2 months out? But what we're looking for, and I got to caveat this, and we'll do it. And Heather, I'm going to jump on you in just a second. You want to have the conversation when they put the house under contract. They're the most excited that day. We got it. The contract's great. Oh my God, this is so exciting. Okay, so here's our timeline. This, and this. Okay, awesome. So one of the things I want to do, I do this for my friends. I'm really excited to do this for you guys. If you'll let me, I would love to throw you a housewarming party. And now it comes to what you just said, Rossi. We want to make sure that it's right. That's a great suggestion. Definitely hit the book. I wrote it down. Heather, what do you got?
I'm just curious if there's any liability or anything if we furnish the alcohol and something happens.
There is, but I don't worry about liability. And I bring a limited supply. I don't go crazy. It's usually beer and wine. There is absolutely, but it's actually the liability would fall on the homeowners more than you, I believe, because the homeowners are actually where the alcohol is being served. Perhaps there is, and you're going to have to gauge that yourself. I don't consider that a big issue. I would probably take a video when it's all said and done, and I'll be taking photos too. So I should have some documentation that we're not over serving. And I've just never run into that problem or quite honestly heard of it. But good point. Good point. Consider there is a liability. I'm glad you brought that up, Heather, because everybody needs to know it. And you're going to take that on as you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call on Mr. Don Wild, who has gotten out of bed in Colorado and moved to the kitchen or the living room. Don, how are you, brother?
I'm doing well, thanks. Hey, what about your own home? If you buy a home and you move, how would you do a housewarming party for yourself?
Okay, so what I would do for a housewarming party for myself, you're inviting your friends, and you can absolutely do that. We can do, honestly, if you're doing something like that, you're doing a social. I got 2 answers for this, Donna, and I want to hit both of them. There was a gentleman, Gene Roger. No, he's with KW. He's brilliant. Gino owns the market centers up in Jacksonville. He and I we had fun competing. He would do something once every 6 months. He would invite all of his database, all of his people over to his house, and he'd have a catered event there, kind of a gathering for people in his house. And he inevitably got a referral and a couple bottles of wine every time he did that. That's a housewarming party in itself. You can do something just like that, Don. But if you're going to move into a new community, I know that's an option for you. You can do that on behalf of your wife and walk around and say, truthfully, I helped in the purchase of this property and I wanted to introduce you to this person. She happens to have the same last name as me. They're not going to figure that out. it gives you an opportunity to walk around the neighborhood and come from contribution and value, kind of exactly what we're talking about with the door knocking.
Mhm.
That may be an opportunity for you to meet more of your neighbors right away with specifics to what you're saying. Can you throw one for yourself? Absolutely. You're not going to be up there talking about you though, and that's a little bit diminished. So you may lose a little bit of the juice, because the juice is them having conversations about you, which they're going to do. Does that help,
So
Don?
in the case where you're moving to a new area, you don't have any friends, or if you just don't have any friends, you would just invite the neighbors.
I absolutely would do that. If you're trying to meet the community, 100%, I would send, I would, knock around, introduce yourself and say, I am, I'm your neighbor. I just want to introduce myself. I'm new to the community. I'm digging on it. And then by all means, throw a housewarming party, invite the people you knocked on that you actually met, and invite them over, and, have them fill out a sign in for a raffle and put a name tag on so that you can introduce yourself and talk to them a little better. It's up to you, but the answer would be absolutely. Any opportunity to talk to people is a good thing.
That sounds good. Yeah. And
Thanks, brother.
and just a point of clarification, when you get the picture, the 8x10,
Mhm.
and you said you put a white border on it, that would be like a mat, right? Like a,
Yeah, I just bring it to the frame shop, have a big frame like this big with the picture being about this big, so everybody can write on the outside, please
Right on
sign
the-
your name, welcome them to their new house. And that's what I'm going to present to them, put the glass back in and present it to them when we're done. And that's the big giveaway that they're going to keep forever. And it says probably cut into there. You just have them etch it in, the date at which they did it. And if you want to have them do it on the bottom in your name, what a wonderful time we had helping you buy your home. In my case, it would be George and Jackie. Okay, that's what I would suggest. All right, open it up. Anybody else have something they can do to make this better? You guys cannot tell me that was as good as it can get, that you don't have something in your craw that's going to make it better, because you guys can make it plus this thing to be awesome. Yes, ma'am. Hi, Lethea.
Good morning, guys. Okay, I'm about to pump some gas, but I wanted to throw this in. When you said the picture frame, I use the scramble. I went and got a mini, the board game scramble, and you know how they're blank.
Yep.
With the permanent marker, and it was at the same table of my raffle drawing of the sign-in. And I asked them to write a little note on the scramble. Well, my people really liked board games, so it kind of matched that little theme anyway.
Love
But it was a way for them to say, yeah, congratulations, or anything like that. And now they get to keep Scramble, and it's in their home forever. And then they're going to remember all of us whenever they go play game night. So I just had to throw that in there.
Outstanding. So you did a housewarming party for them. Is that correct?
Definitely. And I got another one coming in February.
Did you get any referrals from it?
I did. I actually went to a bowl with them last Friday night. So they'll be purchasing. They moved from Michigan and they're looking to buy in July.
Outstanding. Folks, it's all about going belly to belly. It's about having conversations. It's about coming from service. We talk about this on a regular basis. I have this conversation at my house. I have it with clients. I have it with everybody. It's an emotional bank account. We have to continue to provide and come from contribution. Once they know they like you and you like them, that's half the game. But when they know they can trust you is when they refer their clients. And trust and like go hand in hand. You usually trust the people you like. Keep pouring into them. You'll be amazed what happens to your business. And remember, if you're not seasoned in real estate, after about 3 years, 80% of the agents say that 90% of the agents say that 80% of their business comes from their database. And almost every one of them says they don't follow up with it real well. Every form of prospecting goes back to your database. Your database is the area you have to master in this industry for long term, or you will grind nonstop. This is a way to increase your database with people that already are in relationship with you. Remember, everybody at this party knows exactly who you are, knows that you come from service and you were basically just a great person who's smiling and pleasant. And my God, they were cleaning up and doing everything. This is who you want to be known as. And you've got a third-party testimonial going on as well, which makes it even better. Eddie, going to call on you in just a second. Get yourself ready, my dear friend. This is an opportunity for deeper relationships faster than any other one particular act. It's better than anything else out there to building a relationship. Miss Eddie, good to see you. How are you, my friend?
Hey, how are you?
Great, thank you.
I'm good. So I realized that during this call that I've missed a huge opportunity. So my last sale, my buyer, she bought a house by the beach, and it was great. I've helped her clean up. I've helped her set up. And the neighbors have seen me. I mean, they were even surprised, like when I came to help change her locks. I helped as a closing gift. I got her a mailbox because she didn't have one. I helped set up the mailbox. I found people to put it in, and they were just surprised about all the things I was doing. They thought that I bought the house. I was like, oh no, I'm just a realtor. They're like, wait, you're the realtor and you're doing all of this? So so she had like a housewarming party, but unfortunately the party was scheduled at the same day as Nori's birthday party. So I missed out on that. So I'm like, man, even though they know me, they've seen me, they see me at the house helping her clean and doing all these other things, and I've been a great resource to her. How do I recover seeing the fact that I've missed this party? Like, because I feel like I should have been there, because she invited me and I helped her create the menu for it, but I wasn't present. And I didn't give her any swag or anything. I'm like, damn, I should have given her something to give away at the party. How do I recover seeing that I missed it?
Okay, was it a housewarming party for her house? Is that correct?
Yeah. It was a housewarming party for her house that she hosted, but I didn't show up because I had Nori's birthday party, her 5th birthday party.
All right. So you have an obvious reason you didn't do that. I said, you know what? I just love parties so much. I would just say, I missed your housewarming party, but one of the things I do like to do, we were just talking about it, and I'd love to be able to do this for you, is I would like to host a housewarming party for you as well, just so we have another party. It'd be my pleasure, and invite, some of the same friends, perhaps some more, and let me put the party on for you. You had fun at the first one. It'd be fun for this one too. It's a great reason for everybody to get together. Doesn't just take over from there. So you might want to consider that. Okay. Remember, folks, this is going to take you guys getting uncomfortable and having that conversation when you put them under contract. This is what I love to do. And I promise you that 50% of them are going to say, no, I'm not really interested. That's okay. It's not a big deal. I just love hosting parties, and I wanted to help you out if I could do so. You're fine. They're not rejecting you. They're rejecting the idea of having people in their house, and they're uncomfortable with it. And the only way they can do that is to let you know that they are. So don't take this personal, because it's not about you. It's about them not being comfortable. By the way, this is one of the best books I have ever read. It is, and I just dropped it in the chat as well, The 7 Levels of Communication. It is a phenomenal book. I would encourage everybody here to read it. You can get it at Amazon. That's the link. Hopefully it's not directly to my account where I'm paying for all your books, but I think you can also get it as a Audible. I would encourage you to listen to this, because relationships are going to supersede everything. Here's a secret. There's no amount of marketing that Zillow can throw out there that'll take over where a relationship is established that is a strong one, where they know I care, that I'm interested in their well-being, and that they can trust me. That's a winning proposition in any world. For almost every one of us, you can do the exact same thing that an open door and an offer pad or anything else is. You all know. If you don't, you can talk to me about it privately. I promise you, you can make an offer on a home, get at least 1 or 2 cash offers on a property, just like open door and offer pad. Everybody, you can actually do it for open door and offer pad. But if you have relationships, they'll come to you for advice first. And if that's the way they want to go, well, why don't you solicit once you say, well, we can do that, and I'll actually get offers from them, and we'll entice them and everybody with this. Why don't you just get them yourself? Somebody out here, I got a question. There is a firm, I use Curbio when I'm doing my repairs, and now there's good and there's bad to that. You're going to have to make your own judgment. I'm not advocating for them, but there's another company that we can work with, and I'm drawing the blank on the name, where if I have equity in my house, I can actually take that money out. They'll give me a bridge loan for it. It's like Keep or something like that.
Knock. I think it's Knock.
Knock. Thank you. Y'all need to look into Curbio and Knock, please. Knock. I got to make sure I tell Jackie that. Big circle around there. Because we have a client need to do exactly that. Knock would be the solution. You have to come with the answers. And back to the relationship. If you have the relationships, they're going to talk to you. All right.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you're doing these housewarming parties, are they usually on a weekend, like Friday or Saturday, or during the week?
Friday, Saturday. That's on the
Friday,
it's on the
Saturday.
checklist too. It identifies Friday, Saturday as better. Remember, you don't want the party to end. You just know that you're leaving at 7.
Okay.
And
So
you leave with a
another
big bag
good
of trash.
thing that
I'm
you
sorry?
could add is if you could find, if you have a connection or find a way to have even a 1-person or 2-person live music out in the pool area.
Awesome touch. Yep.
That's what
Awesome
I would do.
touch. Yep. Now, now this comes into, I love it, Dina. That's awesome. You come into that price equation, how much do I want to spend? What do I have? You got a
Yeah.
budget, but it doesn't change the dynamic that awesome is awesome. And honestly, y'all think about this. We can get away with this party and have it be pretty darn reasonable. Let's say maybe $100 out of pocket. And that's your cost where your lender's going to spend 150 or something like that. Worst case, 150 each. And
Or
you've
even
got
a
gifting-
DJ,
I'm sorry.
you're cheaper, DJ.
So if you want to go over the top, what kind of impression are we making? If you're selling $1 million home, I would consider throwing the kitchen soup at this one because their friends are going to be the same kind of character. You're dealing with a duplication. If you're selling a $30,000 home, bring McDonald's, call it a day. All right, you're good to go. I'm kidding, of course. You know what I'm saying though, but they probably travel in a similar circle with a similar financial value proposition. So as you elevate it up, absolutely do so. In a bigger house, Dina, for sure. I would probably invest, this is just me, I would invest $1,000 on this if I had 40 or 50 people coming, and I would make it stellar. And I guarantee you that would make an impression on all of them.
Now, I also wanted to ask you about this issue.
Mhm.
If the buyers are new to Florida, they've just moved here, they don't have that many friends here yet.
That's true.
So would you propose to do it, I don't know, like in the future, like 6 months up in the road? How do you handle that?
Can I say
Okay,
something to that, George?
yeah, jump in, Alethea.
I actually do have new ones into their home. So what we're doing is we're inviting their
Coworkers? Can't hear.
She's froze a bit.
anybody that has. Sorry, I'm in a gas station.
Yep.
Let's try
Say
this.
that again.
I
We got as
said
far as
I-
they'll invite their coworkers. Start from there, please.
Invite coworkers and daycare teachers. And then
Nice.
I'm going to see if they want to do the neighbors now that you just mentioned that this morning. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Remember, introducing the neighbors to the people that live there is the way to go. And let them know, say, what I normally do, I just tell them this. What I normally do is I like to go around and make an introduction to let them know that you're going to be moving into or that you've moved into the area. And I'd like to be able to share with them that you have 2 children and are just wonderful, wonderful people. That's about all I would talk to them. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. You can do that. Now you can knock on every single door and introduce the new people that just moved in. And perhaps some of them would go, in fact, we're having a housewarming party. Go introduce yourself. I'm sure they'll invite you. So some of your neighbors may come over and want to come to the housewarming party, which would be terrific. I'd be glad, since we're hosting, it'd be nice for them to see you and meet you. Oh yeah, that's fine. You got to play around with it a little bit, Dina, but yeah, for sure. I love the idea of what Alethea said too. Thank you very much, ladies.
Mhm.
All right. Couple things we have, as you probably know. If you don't know, I'm going to let you know. If you go to gpsglobalpartners.com under the calendar, you will see that we have in there 2 role-playing classes that are every single day of the week. They're at 8:30 to 9:30. There's another one from 12 to 1. The little boy role-playing class is 8:30 to 9:30. The little girl role-playing class is 12 to 1. Of course, you're invited to either one of them, but it seems that that's kind of how they have it set up. If you want to practice scripts and dialogues and get good at what you're saying, I would challenge you to do that because your skills are critical. It is 9:30. Don't know about y'all, but my schedule starts at 9:30. From 9:30 to 11, I've got something very specific I work on every single day. And from 11 to 12, I work on my WOB, which is my working on my business. Yes, I know that's a stupid name, but I can't figure out another acronym. So I'm busy in about 1 minute. I hope you are as well. You have to get in front of people. This is going to be a challenging year for some and an amazing year for others. And the only thing that's going to differentiate what this year looks like is your level of action. For everybody watching, I don't want an affirmation that you're going to act. I want an affirmation by a show of hands that you get. If you do not put forth enough action, you will not have enough business. Does everybody acknowledge that? Raise your hands if you get that. I want you to acknowledge one more thing for me. Action. Hey, Tawanda. Action. Hi. Sorry, your name popped up. I wanted to say hi. Action is not posting, oh, I just listed a home on social media. Action is a conversation. Action is some form of engagement. Think about it this way. You want to talk to at least 100 people you haven't met a week about real estate. Now, in there, you have your database. You want to have a conversation with your database as well, but that's about a relationship. And the people you talk to about real estate, if you like them, create a relationship. My database class covers all of that, how to infuse them into your database so that they're actually not feeling like they've just been tricked into it, with genuine interests and concerns with them. Lori, give me just a second. I'll call on you in just a second, I promise. But if you speak to 100 people a day or 100 people a week, you're going to have a real estate business that grows. If you speak to 200 people a week, you're going to have one that explodes. If you speak to 50 a week, you're going to have a good business. And then you look back, everybody here, look back over the last week, the week we just got out of. How many new people, don't tell me, how many new people did you speak with? If it's 50, your business may be okay. If it's less than that, we've got some challenges. Your actions don't support what your potential goals are. But Tom has done again and again business planning clinics, and we break down these numbers, you reverse engineer it. Here's the ugly little secret. Use this as an example. For every closing you want, add 150 conversations to it. If you speak to 150 people and follow up well, you'll do great. That's 1,500 people for 10 closings. Let's divide that by 50 weeks. That's 30 people a week for 10 closing. 30 new people. Ask yourself, last week, did I talk to 30? That's for my 10. Or do I want 20 closings a year? Did I talk to 60? I want 30. Did I talk to 90 or 100 people a week? This housewarming party is going to put 25 to 30 people in front of you. That's one day, 30 people, great conversations, deep relationships. Right away, good relationships. I would challenge you, if you are not doing what you should, taking the actions you must take based on, Ibrahim said this best, math is the path. It is a numbers game. If I know what you're lead generating, everybody out there, all of you, I see you. If I know what you're lead generating, how you're lead generating, I could literally look at your schedule. I can look at what you're doing. I could tell you in just about a minute that you're on the track to do so or you're not. And the only thing that is the equation that I can't enter into that equation is the actual effort and commitment you have to doing it. I'm going to go back to what I always go back to, and I want you guys to consider this very, very deeply. If your schedule reflects what you should be doing and you all have to do is follow the schedule, the only time that doesn't happen is when you choose not to. And that's not anybody's fault but yours. And you can only look in the mirror on that one. You know what you must be doing. If you're in a place you don't want to be, it's because you probably didn't take the actions you needed to take. Get your motivation. Be honest, be transparent with those around you. Tell them, I didn't do the job I should have done. You'd be amazed how motivating that is when you say, I dropped the ball. Now, here's the other side of it, though. When you have a good day and you talk to 30 people, 40 people, 60, whatever the case may be, you have a conversation, you know that you want to hit 150 people because or 100 people because you're interested in 30 closings. That's about right, by the way. 100 conversations, 30 closings. When you have a day where you hit the right number, in your case for 100, that's going to be 20 people a week if you're going to call 5 days a week, but everybody knows you're going to miss one day. So I'm going to say it's 30 people a week or 30 people a day that you need to speak to on the 4 days you're working. Now, if you're doing an open house, that counts as 2 days, doesn't it? And if, oh my God, but I only had 10 people come through, knock on more doors. Introduce the fact that you're going to have a busy, because you do a lot of marketing, and talk to those people. You should know your number. 10 transactions, 30 people a week that you haven't talked to. 30 transactions, 90 people a week. Let's say 100. That's your goal. How can I speak to 100 people I haven't spoke to? What can I do that puts me in front of 100 people? This will put you in front of 30. You can do it every week? Probably not. But when you do, you got to consider that's going to count. What else are you going to do? You want me to look at your schedule? I want to know the 2 things you're going to do for lead generation, and I want to see your schedule on your phone, the schedule that you follow. If you show me those, I can tell you if you're going to make it or if you're not. I can tell you that you're doing it right. And the only thing that you may want to change on there is going to be your scripts, your practices, your skill sets. Now, for everybody out here, remember, we're going into a very challenging month, or year. This is going to be a growth year for a lot of you. You're already here. You're already engaged. Do not get frustrated. Remember, it's time on task over time. You're going to have to be proficient. It's not all about your lead generation. And this is the part is most important. I am a fanatical preacher of this, that you're going to probably lead generate for 2 hours a day. Just get used to it. It's what it is. If you want to get a great business, this is how you build it. Once you get to 25 or 30 transactions, we're going to show you how to be prospecting, meaning lead generation based and perhaps marketing supplemented. What really will happen is you're like, I got lead generation, I got my database, and that's where it comes from. You can accomplish anything if you apply the right action. And you're not going to be perfect. You don't have to be. You just have to be better than average. If you're going to prospect for 2 hours a day, that's great. And that's going to get you close to 20 transactions. I promise you it will. If you're doing the right kind of prospecting, talking to 20 people a day. Here's the part that's important. I want all of you to remember this. At some point, you're going to need to work on your business, or your to-do list will eat your backside. You're going to need to have a good listing presentation. You're going to need to have a great buyer presentation. You may have different things that you need to put into place that you want to work on. Don't forget to schedule time to work on your business, the WOB time. It's really, really important. But remember, it comes after lead generation. And just for the last thing, and I'll leave it at this, lead generation is not follow-up. Get that clearly. If it were, and I'm going to use Liz as an example because I know she was out walking. By the way, that was very cool. And I think Jamal went out with you too. You got a couple people that she's like, I'm going out walking, y'all come. If you're doing something that's kind of cool like that, put it on a social, put it on our Facebook group. Let us know. We're starting to build like geographical area Facebook groups for everybody, so that we've got different regions, and like Minnesota will have one, or the Northeast, and Virginia and Georgia, just fun stuff like that. We'll get it out there. I promise you, we're working on it. But let's share it with other people. If you're going door knocking, I want other people to join you. If you want them to join you, it makes it a lot more fun. If you're doing an open house, share that. Where are you doing it? Let us come to it. If you're going out door knocking, Liz, I just got to ask you this question. When you're out door knocking, are you out there, and as opposed to walking around knocking on doors, talking to people, I don't know, checking your phone, checking Facebook, standing at the end of a driveway?
Kind of, sort of, but not really. I'm actually super purposeful with it. So like when Jamal, Letha, and Desiree came in, I knocked a couple doors. I said, okay, guys, here's the script. Now you do it. So we were very purposeful, and then actually became a race. So Jamal had his son JJ with us, and it was a competition on who could knock on more doors. And it was funny because JJ knocked on someone's door, and they end up coming to the open house on Sunday, and we got a buyer seller lead. So it worked out very, very well. So thank you, Jamal. It was great. And Jamal came to the open house on Sunday and really showed up. He just absorbed all the knowledge. So I'm always willing to help you guys, but you just gotta take the step forward, guys. We can do it. I mean, I love door knocking, and we make it fun.
Love it. Thank you for sharing that. And the fact that it's purposeful is what I was getting at. Think about this. If you're prospecting, door knocking works, but if you're at your house, please don't let your emails jump in the way of what you need to do. That's not prospecting. That's wasting your time. You're not purposeful. Now remember, grade yourself at the end of each day. I'll leave you guys with this. Grade yourself at the end of each day. How'd I do? 1 to 5. Number 3 is, hey, it was all right. No real improvement, kind of average. 3 is a tough number. I don't like using 3s. If you had to go with 1, 2, 4, or 5, where are you at? Be critical and say, how'd I do? And then make it better the next day. It's okay if you're not perfect. We want to continue to evolve the game. Know your numbers, guys. Math is the path. I'm going to steal that from Ibrahim. It was the best line I heard from there for sure. Well, one of many. All right.
Hey,
Go out there.
George.
Yes, ma'am. Hi.
Before you get off.
I know that voice.
Yes. So can we have a coaching moment?
Yeah.
So it has been my experience with coaching that when we allow people to self-aware and ask the questions more purposefully, it's more impactful. So if I was to ask you, George, what do you think that can be different to take your number from 3 to 5?
I could have gotten rid of distractions.
And what are we talking about in distractions, George? What does that mean? What does that look like?
Well, my phone, and Jackie came in and was talking about the dog, and I really didn't work as much as I should have. I was going to do 2 hours of really being on the phones, and I was probably only an hour and 10 minutes.
So if we could wave a magic wand and you could put something in place, what would that look like?
I'm thinking a moat with glass. Something. No,
So this
having a
is why
conversation with
so
Jackie.
when we're having these conversations, y'all, in our group, and George has given us such great nuggets, please understand that he has a coach and he's leading you to have that information to build you a bunker so that you can have a 5 out of 5 every day. Okay. And thank you for being vulnerable and letting us do that. If you didn't have a coach, would you have that internal conversation with yourself? No. So there you go.
What she said. That was awesome. That was awesome. Thanks, Claire. I love that's exactly right. Y'all think about this. Come on, it's up to you. Nobody's going to do it for you. You got to look in the mirror and say, how'd I do? And don't, please, for the love of God, don't beat yourself up. You're a good person. You can do this. And you're not going to be perfect. And that's totally cool. But you got to be honest. How'd I do? What got in the way? Claire asked it very well. Thank you, Claire. It was like, we didn't practice that. That was just perfect timing with perfect input. I love you. You're awesome. God bless you. Ask yourself, how am I doing? How can I do it better? If you really want to get gutsy, tell your spouse what you're doing and tell them, if I don't do it, I'm disrespecting you and I'm doing it because my looking at boats is more important than you and us being successful or safe. No, that's a heavy load put on somebody. I'm getting at is what Claire said. How do we put ourselves in position? If you don't want to hire a coach, have somebody that can help you with accountability and be honest with yourself. How did I do? Today was a 4. Oh, that's excellent is what I'd love to hear from them. How'd you do? I did a 2. What happened? I got sidetracked with this. Well, you'd be surprised. Maybe they'll be like, well, listen, why don't I make sure that doesn't bother you so you can really stay focused?
Sorry.
Hey, Ruth. All right. Ruth, do you have something you want to add, my friend? Oh, I think you're muted back again. That's cool. I was just double checking. Didn't want to ignore you. Hi. I see you now.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to.
That's all right. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Y'all read this. Read what my hat says. You see that? Don't forget it. Can't see it. Look at that here. All right. That's it. It changes every day. This is I have my no idea what I'm doing day. I love you guys. Have an amazing day. Tell somebody you love them. Tell them they're important. Tell them they actually matter. You may save somebody's life. You will definitely make a difference in theirs, and you'd be amazed how good it feels. They're going to feel better, and so will you. That's the secret to database. And remember, everything feeds your database. So now you have the secret to all of it. You're going to need to take action. I encourage you to do so immediately. And if you'd like to figure out, well, I need to talk a little bit about my business. If you want to get on my calendar, go to, what is it? quickchatwithgeorge.com. And quicktalkwithgeorge.com. That's what it is. And then just pick a time and we'll get on the calendar. We could talk about your business for a couple minutes. If you tell me what you're going to do for prospecting and you show me your schedule, I can tell you if you're on the right track to your number. How many homes do you want to sell? I always use units. I don't use dollar amounts because you can sell one home for $5 billion and you're off. You're done for the year. And you should be if you sell one for $5 billion. Units matter. Dollar amount, it's a byproduct of where you're working. We can elevate that, but the units have to happen. So how many homes do you want to sell? I can look at your schedule and what you're doing and what how you're prospecting. And I can absolutely tell you that you will win or that you have some scheduling challenges you might want to do. Claire just put in there, how many people do you want to serve this year? That's what I ask. How many homes, how many families can I help? That's my number one objective. All right, go out and have a great day. Love you guys. See you real soon. Tiffany, I turn it to you. I'll catch you in a bit.
Thank you very much. And I will talk to you later, George.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see.